Joining us now from hashtag Rip Portland is our dear friend and ally, the wonderful Tara Dublin, who was at the who does indeed rock and was at the No Kings rally and spoke at it. And how was that? It was fantastic. Give us the recap. And how are you?
I'm great. I don't see you though.
Oh, sorry. Here you go. There. You go.
Thank you. It's hard to have a conversation with someone when you can't see their handsome
Well,
face.
that's why
Hi,
phones are dying.
Hal.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah.
Hi, friends. Hi, sparklers. Hi, kids. How's everyone
Mhm.
doing?
They're
I
doing
have
good.
almost. I'm trying to get my voice back because we did a lot of voice things on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I participated in Saturday's No Kings rally, and there's going to be more. There's the next one's on
Yes.
November 22nd. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody knows that. And if you follow Outspoken on any socials, this is from her shop, and this is
Nice.
the No King shirt that I have been wearing on. It's been washed so many times. I've worn this on every appearance possible over the last week or so, and then wore it Saturday with a sparkly jacket because I decided I would be the disco ball in the middle of the great big Halloween party we were having in Portland on Saturday that just happened to coincide
Right.
with the No King's Day. So, and as you know, Hal,
Yeah.
Portland is Halloween adjacent, pretty much 365,
Yeah.
right? So very pirate friendly. A lot of pirates walking around just on the daily. People walking around dressed like pirates. Lots of skeleton themed things here in
Sure.
Portland. There's a strip club called Devil's Point. We
Right.
embrace all of that, right? So Saturday, we were expecting historic turnout beforehand, right? And
Mm-hmm.
very excited about it. And we didn't want to overestimate or whatever, but we knew we were going to be bigger than the one on June 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And we were.
Yeah.
Early estimates from Portland were they underestimated, but I've seen the drone footage that my friend Edwin Nunez took. And if you aren't on Instagram, he's Dat Guy Eddie,
Right.
DATGUI, Eddie, EDDY. He's great. Amazing. And then my friend Michael Schneider, who's Blacksmith Designs, also did it. He's the guy who does the balloon messagings on the walls. So did the
Right.
two of them together, took amazing drone footage, and I'm gonna go ahead and say there were over 60,000 of us in the streets
Nice.
because there were Portland had multiple events happening on Saturday. Um, there was one in Pioneer Courthouse Square, and the Reverend Chuck Curry was leading that one, and then he led that faction to join us at the rally. And then there was other stuff happening on the east side that Indivisible was doing, and then they marched over the bridge to join us. So by the time we started moving,
Yeah.
it was a sea of humanity on the waterfront, which was glorious. And so we had a stage set up, and from the stage at the Battleship Memorial all the way down past the Morrison Bridge were people packed in, and we had our sound guys were on point, and our volunteers worked so hard. And that's something that we everyone who participated in a No Kings rally
Yeah.
this Saturday, the volunteers who are working, there were like 7 or 8 signal chats going
Mm-hmm.
on at the same time that I was, watching this happen. And so, but safety was the number one thing. Keeping it
Right.
peaceful was, number one, but also making sure that we were just heard because we knew it was going
Yes.
to be big. And so they set up speakers on stands every 100 yards between where the stage was all the way back to the Hawthorne Bridge. And that was a huge undertaking. And then all of that was packed with people. And then behind us, all the way to the Burnside Bridge was packed and it was just unreal to see all of those people. So
Mm-hmm.
we had an amazing turnout. We had local counselors speak. Angelita Morello was one of them, and she's the one who was interviewed. I think it was News Nation, where she called Christy Noma puppy killer, and kind of like took the interviewer aback when that was said.
Uh-huh.
And so one of the most amazing, there's lots of amazing visuals from Portland, and you could pull up my Instagram, my Blue Sky. There wasn't as many on Blue Sky because Blue Sky is just like not as user friendly, but I put a ton of stuff on Instagram and also on Twitter and my Facebook. Like it's, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to write a great big Substack. Yesterday was like recovery day. Um, It was amazing. And our friends at the Dangerous Ones, which is the 11 Films and Nick Knutson from Demcast, made one video that I saw where they were on the Morrison Bridge and they deployed some balloons that they wrote messages on. And in the background, you can hear someone talking. And I was like, what's happening? I was like, wait, that's me. That's me leading the chant right before we marched. And you can clearly hear me chanting, show
Nice.
Trump what democracy looks like, show Trump what Portland looks like. And the response from tens of thousands of people. And it was just like, psh. And then the other thing that happened was, like, I was supposed to, like, kind of help lead the march, and there was some discussion about that. But then my friends showed up that I didn't know who were coming, and they came to, like, kind of, you know, support me, and some low bar people were there performing also.
Right.
So, like, there was group sing along. We sang "This Land Is Your Land" as we were moving into the streets, and "All you fascists bound to lose." We were singing that too, and that was, you know, everyone was like joyously celebrating, and of course there were the frogs and all of the inflatables and about the millions of pictures and videos that I took that day. I don't think anything's going to top the video I took of the inflatable frogs dancing to Peace Train. That happened. That definitely happened.
Right.
There was also, I filmed before the rally itself started, there was a guy in an inflatable dinosaur costume. And in the background, like, we were playing music in the background, and it was Childish Gambino's "This Is America." So he's like bouncing around like, "This is America, boom, boom, don't catch you sleeping, no." And I filmed that, and he's like, and that one got like a lot of shares on the Twitter because, you know, because MAGA cannot cope with what happened on Saturday. It's delicious. Please feed all of that cope to me. I could survive. If it was food, we wouldn't have to worry about SNAP benefits. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that. So the joy that we embraced on Saturday, and that's one of the things that we talked about repeatedly, was they don't get to take one sliver of our joy. They don't get to take away any of our patriotism, our love for our country, our love for our cities, our love for our neighbors. None of it. They get none of it. And that was the focal point of No Kings, and why you saw people dressed in costumes. I mean, we are close to Halloween anyway. So people were embracing all of that and the creativity in the costumes. I mean, Portland really set the standard for how people should show up for No Kings.
Absolutely.
Time.
And
it's embarrassing
for a hollowed out
for them,
crater, I got to
for
give
the
him credit.
MAGA.
Yeah. So
Hey, you know what? The embarrassing footage for Trump is glory. It's glory.
Well, and his response was his little AI video that, you know, of him airdropping shit on everybody.
We're going to talk about.
But here's what I want to point out, like, in the midst of all this. Like, I have said for a while that this illusion that he tweets at all hours and is awake and never sleeps or whatever is a manufactured illusion, carefully, you know, built on by Dan Scavino and everybody in the media office there, so that he puts out truth sinkhole posts in the middle of the night. A couple of times they're like, oh my God, he's up at 2 a.m. and then 5 a.m. and he's talking to world leaders or whatever. Like, no, he isn't. He's posting something that he would have said earlier in the day at 2 o'clock in the morning because, A, they're overseas, and that's when they want them to see it, in theory. And so his team does that while he's unconscious. And that is an increasingly long period of, you know, of the day.
You can schedule posts if you
you don't have to when you got a whole team. We can, but you don't have to. They stay up and do it.
No, if you have a team, if you have a team of 18-year-old dipshits, or you know, or a 40-year-old dipshit from a Telegram chat who loves Hitler, they don't need to sleep. They have drugs and they have you know, Mountain Dew or what, I don't know, those energy drinks. So
Jolt. Remember Jolt? Oh yes, Jolt.
I do remember Jolt.
The program,
I do. I know.
Yeah, which, but you know, arguably has less caffeine in it than most regular energy drinks. And I think it was actually, I want to say it was 200 milligrams at the time, which was like unheard of, and now it's 3. Is the top end?
I don't know how people's hearts just don't explode after
well, they do
while,
sometimes. That's the thing.
Yeah, sometimes they do. But I mean, it was just and it wasn't just in America. And the early estimates were 7 million. Now they're saying 8.2 million. It might even be higher than that just in America. And what was really encouraging also is the turnout that we saw in red states. Because if it was just blue states, they could take the stance that, liberals and I'm sorry. I saw a turnout in Boise and Arkansas and Florida and Texas, and we saw red state turnouts in small
Hmm.
towns in red states that Trump won overwhelmingly, had
Yeah.
hundreds of people turning out for No Kings.
Hmm.
Around the world, people
Yeah.
turned out in the millions and millions. So who knows globally, when you add what we put out, add it to the protests around the world, everybody took time out of their Saturday to
Hmm.
protest Donald Trump. And I mean, the memes are amazing when you juxtapose the crowds of No Kings to his ego military birthday party where it was like 12 people showed up.
Yeah.
Um, Again, let us also
Yeah. He's still
reinforce that literally
womping
no,
from that. He's still like
of course,
he's still butthurt
all
over these
about
things.
that.
Now I want to play a couple of
Of course.
things if I can.
Mhm.
This is because one of the things we should take great joy in is that not only were the No Kings rallies a great success and Trump had his fifis hurt by them, even if he doesn't say so, because like again, he can be embarrassed but not shamed. And embarrassment comes in his case
Right.
from not being 100% popular. When there's an
Correct.
obvious response that proves that he does not have, the greatest level of popularity in the history of ever, but he can blow past the polls as
Right.
being fake. But when giant crowds are in the streets because he sucks, it
Mhm.
hits him right in the ego, which is the only place he can
Oh,
apparently
yeah.
feel pain. So, but
That's correct.
in the meantime, he was asked about the Argentina bailout on Air Force One, and let's see if I can play this up for you. This is our lovely.
I saw that. I mean, he looked like he was about to fall over, first
Yes,
of
he.
all,
He looks
right?
like shit.
He looks so weak. He
Sounds like
looks like
shit.
shit, sounds like shit,
Yeah.
feels like
Question is,
shit.
what do you have to
So
say
weird.
to
He wants
U.S.
everyone else to
farmers
be
who
as
feel that
miserable.
the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as
Look,
they are a
Look,
top
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right?
Okay.
And what about us, you motherfucker?
Well,
I'm sorry,
no,
you child fucker.
Yeah, hold on. Real quick. Argentinian.
Condescension.
Yeah.
Condescension. The
Buying.
bullying of the person asking the question should have never been tolerated going back 10 years. When he bullies any member of the media, someone else should immediately step up and go, you shouldn't be speaking to her like that.
Yeah.
He needs to be fucking called out for this shit. I'm tired of it. I am
Well,
really tired of that.
This is from.
Beyond.
Let me open this up. This is from the Buenos Aires Herald, which sounds like a great paper. Let me tell you this. Let's see if I can shrink this down. There it is.
Buenos Aires.
You
Let's
can
just
tell.
sing all the Evita songs while we're doing the Don't
Yeah.
Cry for
Shopping
Me,
tours to Chile
Argentina.
double amid complaints of Argentine businesses. Because of the appreciation of the Argentine peso, cell phones, home appliances, and clothing can be up to 70% cheaper across the border. So everybody's loading up their cars and driving. I did a whole video about this, and it's genius, and people should watch it. But the
hypocrisy
Argentinians,
is burning.
their dollar is the peso is so propped up, and they have a like sub economy of U.S. dollars to buy and sell as many of them as they want. They can go across the border, buy like Chilean pesos, lots of them, and then trade them. It's ridiculous. Like the rich people are going on these massive buying sprees in Argentina. And so the idea that they're dying, they're fighting for their life is such garbage. Then meantime, let's see if we can do this one as well.
Before you hit Sam's Club,
I
you
don't
need to
want
see
an
this.
ad, you
I
silly
was in
person.
Sam's Club yesterday, pulling stuff back out of my cart because
There you go. Skip.
The knife was too good.
It's too
That's
good.
the only explanation I have for what
They always
happened
give me
next.
these
They
knives.
thought I was a
ads.
psycho.
Australia pays among the lowest tariffs.
They asked about this Australia.
There's been concern in Australia that it's taken 9 months to get this meeting. Have you had any concerns with this administration with the stance on Palestine, climate change, or even things the ambassador said about you in the past, the Australian ambassador?
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you? You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will. Go ahead.
Notice how everybody's laughing and Trump isn't.
It's not fucking funny.
Well,
Nothing about this is funny.
Even still. Well, no. Like, they think he's joking around, and half of it is Australian press. You know, so it's got Sky News, which is basically Fox, you know, on
it's
wallaby steroids. They're like those muscly roos. Yeah. So those guys think he's, you know, hilarious and will insist on thinking he's hilarious. And then he's pared down the press that's in the room so much that it's basically like friends of Brian Glenn. That's it. And Chanel Royale. And people from Lindell TV.
Jesus fucking Christ. I just want to point out the hypocrisy of all of this. We are in a government shutdown right now. He should not be helping any other country get through anything. He should be helping America and reopen the government. But he's not doing that because reopening the government means opening the Epstein files.
That's right.
And this is the bullshit fucking hypocrisy that makes me so angry. And I know it bothers you as well. Nothing should be happening, right? All of this shit that we're hearing about. They're building a ballroom. They're doing this. He's going to do this. There's AI, everything. There's bullying of Harry says, it's all of it. We're in a government shutdown right now.
Right.
Anything that they do should be focused on reopening the government. We were out in the streets on Saturday for multiple reasons, but a huge part of it is because Trump is in the Epstein files. The government is only shut down because of that. They're not swearing in Adelita Grijalva because Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the point that continues to need to be hammered. And his distractions by, well, Argentina needs us. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Your constituents need you. And so my project for this week, because I don't know how many people are aware of this, because if you're a person who is lucky enough to make enough money and you don't need any government programs to help you exist, congratulations. But if you are an American citizen who relies on SNAP benefits to feed you and your family, you can kiss those goodbye November 1st, because if the government doesn't reopen by then, they are pausing all SNAP benefits. You can't sign up for new ones. If you're already signed up, your card will not get refilled on the day it normally does. It won't happen. Your balance will be zero unless they reopen the government, which they clearly have no interest in doing, which is really frustrating, isn't it? So my call to action now, following up what we saw on Saturday, because we saw that was a demand to take action against this regime. Article 2, Section 4 is a good thing, but also you should not care about the Epstein files more than feeding your constituents. And if you do, you shouldn't have that job that your constituents elected you to do. So my call to action for everyone is to call Republicans in your state. If you don't have Republican representation in your state, call the ones in the red state neighboring yours and simply ask them to reopen the government so that their own constituents who rely on SNAP benefits won't starve. And you can phrase it in your own way. When I called the only Republican representative here, who is Cliff Bentz. And I called his office this morning in Washington. And I have to say, I don't often compliment people who work for Republicans, but the woman who answers his phone was really nice. And she was very compassionate, actually, when I was talking to her. And that's my approach right now. Instead of yelling or shaming or whatever, because people will tune that out, it's a very human approach, which is people in Oregon 2nd District, just like people everywhere else in this country, are relying on SNAP benefits to feed their families. Representative Cliff Bentz is aligning with Trump rather than the constituents who elected him, and he needs to be aware that these people are going to starve, and these people do not care anymore about the Epstein files. They don't care. They care about feeding their families, and we need to make him care about that as well. And so I'm asking you to pass this message along. And if you try to appeal to them on behalf of their constituents, I don't know if that'll work, but that's my approach this week, is to approach them and say, these people elected you because they believed you would take care of them, and you're not doing that.
Well, yeah, I gotta say though, I don't expect them to preemptively work on any of this stuff. What I expect is that the Republicans are not going to start wincing until we get close to that borderline, and until we get to that line.
Hold on, I forgot to plug in my laptop and my battery is running low. You keep going. I'm going under the desk for 1 second.
I've been there. I understand it. Look out! It's getting really OnlyFans in here. So there is no way they are going to do anything about this preemptively. They're not going to recognize, oh dear, we've done something terrible.
Hi.
No,
they know what they're. It's not that they don't know what they're doing.
No, but what I'm saying is that there is the real issue here is that until red states get close to that line, it's a game of chicken right now, and that Democrats are, I think, aware as much as anybody else that Republicans don't. This goes to the shame and embarrassment thing. They don't really have any empathy for the poor in their states. They wish they would fucking move. They wish they would just leave. They would all rather turn their states into a gated community than deal with the constituents that they have. And if they can drive them out by having a state next door have better SNAP benefits or something along those lines, or better support, that's why they talk up California all the time, to try and get the poor people to get on a bus or a train and get the hell out of there. They're not going to do anything until that money runs out and those people are knocking on their door.
Well, we've said this before, is that the MAGA cult will continue to let Trump's lies comfort them until they no longer comfort them, until they actually hurt them. That's when they will start turning their backs. And, it's to me, it's unconscionable the way the Republicans have just a full-on disdain for their own constituents, and their own constituents don't recognize that because they're too busy trying to own the libs. And I think Saturday was a real clarion call for a lot of people, because for people who don't pay attention to politics as much as we do and who aren't on social media, because a lot of Americans aren't, seeing the kind of turnout that we saw across the country, I think was a big wake-up call for a lot of people, especially like 250,000 people in Manhattan, 200,000 people marching to the White House.
Right.
Those are numbers that you can't ignore. I would also say that if you're in Washington, D.C., there should be an Occupy White House going on right now, if they could pull that off, because there should that level of rage should be surrounding the White House at all times at this point now, because if you're going to turn the tide, you have to make sure it keeps turning. So it's about that momentum, and showing the truth. And I would love to believe that enough people saw America basically screaming for everyone to pay attention to what's actually happening and make bigger demands of the people who are in power. And that's true of Democrats as well as Republicans.
Yeah.
I'm continuing, at this point, once again, Republicans are refusing to reopen the government, and they are claiming it's because of healthcare. Now, last Monday, after you and I spoke last Monday, I went to a press conference here in Portland with our Oregon Democratic delegation, and it was local representatives Salinas, Bonamici, and Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley, and it was eye-opening to listen to them and talk, but it was also an opportunity for me to ask a question about what's happening with the shutdown that the MSM doesn't ask, because they don't ever ask real questions anymore. And I said, and I had the last question of the day too, so that was really good. But what I said was, and I've shared this on my socials as well, and it's on my YouTube, which I hope everyone signs up for. I asked, what are you going to do? What can we do? Because we know Republicans don't care about our health care, and they're using that as the excuse, and to try to blame Democrats for keeping the shutdown going when it's Republicans who are keeping the shutdown going.
Right.
So basically what they've done, they're trying to back Democrats into this corner of sell out your constituents on healthcare, or we're going to keep blaming you for the shutdown. And Democrats are like, screw you. That's not what's happening. And so I got them to say on the record, yes, that's 100% what Republicans are doing. They're using this healthcare issue as a leverage point, and they're using that as the excuse. But we all know they don't care. So if you are a Republican right now, if you're a MAGA person right now, if you're a MAGA person who's in the chat right now, I would really start asking those questions like, well, you promised us this, you haven't delivered on this, you've said this, but you're not. What you're doing is actually hurting me personally. That's where we are. And if there are more people on government food assistance in red states than blue states, and therefore those people will be hurt more by these SNAP cuts than people in blue states. And that's just true. I mean, there are people in blue states who are on SNAP. I'm not denying that. But
but they don't care about those people. They don't care about those people.
But the people who are MAGA in red states who are on SNAP benefits do care. They care very much.
Not about the people in blue states that are on SNAP.
No, they care about them. No. The MAGA people who are on SNAP benefits themselves care about themselves. They care about themselves, their family, their food prices, their budget, whatever they have been allotted per month. Because your SNAP benefits are based on how many people are in your household, what is your current income, Like there are lots of things, you just don't fight. Everybody doesn't get the same amount. It's not a blanket. Everybody gets this, and it's based on a lot of different things. And people saw their SNAP benefits being cut, and now frozen is the next step. They will be frozen unless the government reopens. And once the government reopens, then they will be unfrozen, and then you can continue. That's something that MAGA doesn't know. That's something that it hasn't been told to them or explained to them yet. But they will find out. Because they expect their card to be refilled on a specific day every month, and they budget to make it to, it to that day so that it gets refilled again. And they're not going to see that again. And so that is when I believe you're going to start. That is when the tide will turn on the right.
I agree. That's what I was saying before. Like that, the MAGA representatives will not care until their constituencies start to howl. And their constituency will not.
That's going to happen now.
It depends on the depth of their maggot conviction, whether they will do it as soon as it happens, or they'll go, we all got to suffer because Trump's trying to save America, right? That'll give them a week of that, or 2 weeks.
That doesn't work anymore. Not when they're tweeting pictures of themselves wearing fucking crowns, and he's sharing that AI like he's your grandfather, sending you Facebook memes that have been forwarded 1,000 times on an email.
Right.
This is where somebody needs to stand up and demand better of our leadership, because you've got Caroline Leavitt in the briefing room basically being like, hey, your mom, if anybody asks her a question that is has to require a truthful answer. You've got these juvenile dipshits tweeting this AI. Now, Gavin Newsom's team I don't know if you saw, but they did their own version. I think Harry Sisson should make his own version where he's dropping copies of the Epstein files on top of the White House. Like if they're going to go that low, we'll meet them there, but we'll be clever about it. So Gavin Newsom did that. I'd like to see a little bit more. That is where, but somebody somewhere, we have to start demanding better, because the stupidity, this idiocracy, the idiocracy of it all is humiliating.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be, it's embarrassing, but it's it's not humiliating because I didn't vote for the guy. But I will say this, there was Trump and his back and forth with the leader of Colombia, for example, this week, where the president of Colombia said that the U.S. basically assassinated a Colombian citizen who was not a drug dealer, was not, killed in one of those boats. And Trump responded, how we're tracking basically, his tapioca brain.
Right.
He called Colombia's Petro an illegal drug leader and announces an end to U.S. aid to the country. Now, if you take the letter L and the letter D, and you reverse them, you have the word dealer. It leaves your brain as the word dealer, and it exits your mouth as the word dealer.
Verbal dyslexia.
Right. Yeah. He called him an illegal drug leader because
instead of
his
dealer.
brain wouldn't let dealer come out.
Oh my God.
And nobody, I don't know that anybody else has pointed that out, so I would like points for that. Because seriously, nobody, I've been pointing out his really fucking brain farts, even like the fucking saltwater one. We did this one because of
salt water in their veins. You have that salt water. Don't let the doctors change it. Keep it.
What?
Because there's nothing like it. There's no blood like it.
That was him talking to the Navy on the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Navy.
Because their boat is on the salt water.
Yes, because they have, and they want to do it because they got salt water in their veins, sir. Like somebody said that analogously to him, and he said, "They really they have salt water in their veins." They must
there'll be a QAnon conspiracy about if you inject yourself with salt water, it'll replace the blood.
That's right. Yes.
that had all of the adrenochrome in it. I mean,
the fleet,
or whatever. Fucking shit.
That's
man.
By the way, it's called adrenochrome, and pardon me while I do a quick ad. If I can't hold on, I'm gonna have to.
You have to get the TM.
Yeah.
To get the trademark.
Hey, everybody, don't forget, today's brought to you by Safeguard, apple-flavored horse paste with a giant syringe that you can use over and over again. You don't even have to wash it, according to Joe Rogan. It's got fenbendazole, which cures everything, mostly parasites, because it's a parasite medication. And if it works on you and makes you feel better, that means you had worms. That's right, Joe Rogan had worms. That's right. This hour brought to you by fenbendazole, also known as Safeguard, in appley horse flavor paste. Equine dewormer. It's good for what ails you. Right, there you go. Thank you. You know what? I said I would never do paid. I said I would never do paid ads, but times are tough. So I've just
cha-ching. You gotta make
exactly.
that bank.
It was that or saying gold is real money.
Right. Speaking of which, may I remind everybody that despite the fact that I'm currently not employed, I was not paid to protest on Saturday, and neither were the other 8.2 million Americans.
Yeah. I went down there because I wanted to.
Back
Weird.
pay from Soros. The Borowitz report sent out an email today. Andy Borowitz is so fucking hilarious. And it's like George Soros declares bankruptcy after paying No Kings people. And it's like, think about this. And I tweeted last night, it's like, does MAGA think that there's like a secret group of accountants just churning out 1099s to us for the last 10 years? Do you think there's people like that's their only job because there's so many of us? They have to 1099 all of us. We are not being paid to be loyal to the United States. But there's plenty of people who are being paid to commit treason against the United States. Why don't nobody talk about those people? And those people are being sent to Portland. There are people I want to name and shame because they came to Portland specifically sent by the Trump regime. Like when you saw Kristi Noem on top of our ICE facility with Benny Johnson, Benny Johnson and Nick Sorter and these fucking people who came to Portland to try to beef with us. We did have a couple of MAGA agitators who showed up during Arno King's march. I personally didn't encounter any. I don't know if you did at yours.
Nope.
I saw a video where someone tried to beef and people were like, oh, get the fuck out of here. And then the MAGA people are trying to frame it like, oh, Antifa marchers, they were bullying, they're not welcoming us. Why were you there? You weren't there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And that was a big part of my role in every time I spoke on the microphone on Saturday to over 55,000 people. I was like, we're here for safety. We're here to be peaceful. And if there's anybody here who's not here for the right reasons, I didn't even say MAGA. I said, if you encounter someone who's not here for the right reasons, please do not engage. Please do not do this. Please make sure you find a safety officer. They have been trained for that. They come here to manufacture this shit so that Trump has reasons to keep perpetuating this shit. But we know this shit is all because of the Epstein files. So he can try to distract with all of the other things.
Yeah.
The Argentina is a distraction. Letitia James is a distraction.
Well, can I?
John
All right,
Bolton
real
and
quick.
James
Let me.
Comey.
Yeah, I want
But yeah.
to. I want to point out a couple of things that are that I
Bring
think
back
are
whatever that was. Bring it back up.
substantial to the conversation. What like of real world shit that's going on in this. Okay, so Trump was talking about he called Petro an illegal drug leader because he can't say dealer because his brain is tapioca, who is low rated and very unpopular. Which I think they mean different things.
It's a confession.
Right, yeah.
We should
the Republican president warned that Petro
you should just record me saying that.
Yeah, better close up drug operations or the United States will close them up for him and it won't be done nicely. There's your peace president, maggots. We basically declare war on Venezuela. Okay. This is the part that stuck out to me and see if you can figure out why. Okay. So he thinks Petro is responsible for a substantial amount of narcotics coming into the country. Pete Hegseth announced that the latest U.S. strike on a vessel that was allegedly carrying substantial amounts of narcotics. Allegedly. All right. He said the vessel was associated with a Colombian rebel group, the National Liberation Army, or the ELN, that has been in conflict with Petro's government. He did not provide any evidence for his assertion, but he shared a brief video of the boat blowing up. So real quick, if Petro is the guy responsible... Hold on. If Petro is the guy responsible for getting the drugs into the country, and there's a rebel group that's fighting against him, why the fuck are you blowing their boats out of the water? You don't have to help them, but why would you target them? If he is responsible for 2/3 of the cocaine traffic on Earth personally, and this rebel group is, the National Liberation Army is fighting back against him, why would you blow up one of their fucking boats? If he's the drug dealer, unless you're actually helping him with an exit strategy and you bought him out of that position and this is all fucking wrestling, just like the stuff with Netanyahu was all year.
Well, you have to remember, Trump doesn't make any deals that don't benefit him directly first and foremost. And also, like our friend Brian Karam says, Trump has to be the hero of his own story. Every story. Doesn't matter what it is, right? So,
well, as long as it doesn't take any effort or actual thought, like where it has to be automatic. That's why he wants the Nobel Peace Prize, because he doesn't recognize what it's actually for. So he just wants one so he can say he got one. He doesn't want to earn one. And by the way, an earning one is a pain in the ass. And a lot of this shit about like Gaza falling apart as fast as it is and them trying to keep this ceasefire going. He's like, they should just hand it to me right now. Well, why? Why does he wanted to hand it to him right now?
No.
Because it's not going to last. That's why.
No. And it's just so fucking frustrating the way they immediately celebrate him. First of all, what he did was sit on Joe Biden's peace deal for 10 months so they could make more money and then have a ceasefire right around the anniversary time so they look like big fucking heroes releasing the final 20 hostages. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good thing that the hostages get released. That's wonderful. They didn't do it for the right reasons. No. They did it for the PR of it, right? They did it to divert from the fact that they still very much want to flatten Gaza so they can start building hotels there and turn it into the Atlantic City of the Middle East. And they don't care who dies. They don't care who starves. None of it matters to them except their own pockets being lined even more. And if you have reached this point in your life and you still haven't realized that Trump doesn't do anything that doesn't benefit Trump, I don't know what to tell you anymore because he keeps showing you the proof every time he opens his fucking mouth. And so it's the same thing as the Epstein files. If you're not in them, release them. Right. You ask, why wouldn't he help the rebels who are fighting against the big cocaine leader dealer? Well, because he's benefiting. That's why. Why won't he reopen the government? Because then the Epstein files would be released. Is he in the Epstein files? Well, he must be because he won't release them. It's just ask, it's basic questions to just ask them out loud. Once you say them out loud, it's like, that's something to explore. If you're not in the Epstein files, but Bill Clinton is, show us. Show the proof. Show it. Innocent people have no problem.
Well, and then there's this.
Being like, hey, not me.
And there's this.
So,
So I mentioned this last week, but
This wants me. I want to peel the skin off of my own fucking face around this
yeah,
shit.
Ghislaine Maxwell is getting these private meetings in the chapel at the low security prison she's in,
And we
where I
don't know
suppose
with
they're bringing her
whom.
cakes with files in them, or rope. And like, here's your choice, right? But she's having these like secret meetings, and because if you meet with your lawyer, it's your lawyer. You have to be able to meet with your lawyer, and they give you a private place to do it. You also can meet with people for religious reasons or personal reasons in the chapel if you're praying together. So they're using this as an excuse that you can go into this. The officials of the Bureau of Prisons have instituted a unique system for keeping absolutely every detail about Ghislaine Maxwell secret, a federal prison consultant revealed on the Daily Beast podcast. Maxwell was moved to a cushier jail after the order came well above our heads, which is what they said, from Todd Blanche. The notorious partner in crime of the late sex offender Jeff Epstein was quietly transferred in August. We know this. Okay. Sam Mangle, a former inmate turned prison consultant for high-profile names like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, explained that the Bureau of Prisons is now working overtime to keep every detail about Maxwell out of the news. Mangle's job is to work with high-profile inmates. Said he's never seen a cover-up operation like this before. When they go into a prison, anybody of that type of stature or fame, inmates tend to get very curious. They want to almost live vicariously through them. And many of the staff tend to be very deferential to them because they understand who they are and who their friends might be. In this case, Ms. Maxwell, it is completely different. They were warned. The inmates and the staff were warned prior to her coming in that under no circumstances are they to disclose anything that happens with her or to her or surrounding her during her time at Bryan.
This is so sus. Can you FOIA request the Bureau of Prisons?
Yep. That doesn't mean they have to give it to you, though. They can. There's all sorts of privacy reasons why they can. Yeah.
But in this case, someone this high profile connected directly to Trump, and they have decades of history together. I mean, if I was an investigative journalist, if I was someone who's being paid to be an investigative journalist, I would immediately FOIA request all of this. You can't FOIA request the White House, but you can FOIA request a whole lot of other people. And eventually the truth of this is going to come out. We're going to find out who she's talking to, what the deal is, what she's been offered. But all of this is so sus because if he's not involved with the Epstein files, he would let her fry. He would let her rot. He would not care. None of this. He wouldn't.
This
he would
is the
not
case.
have to work.
Like this is also a big part of this.
Angry.
Right. This is a big part of this as well. Is that the reason he's talking in this article is because he had a client who's at that facility. A lot of cush, rich people end up in those kind of prisons because it's white collar crime. Nobody died. Blah blah blah.
Right.
So they go do their time in one of those things, and he's a consultant for those kind of people. He had a person who he repped there. She said something to a journalist about Ghislaine Maxwell, and that night, that woman was taken to a maximum security prison. She was moved to a maximum security prison for doing that. And
I want to know. I mean,
he said they're afraid, as the staff is afraid, to do anything wrong because they know that in order for her to have gotten there, the strings at the highest possible level. Someone pulled the strings at the highest possible level.
Damn. Somebody in the chat just asked if we think Trump is visiting her.
No.
I don't know if he would visit, but maybe a phone call. We would never know if they spoke on the phone. We would never know.
No. Yeah. So, I would rule that out. I would argue. I think somebody should ask.
I wouldn't rule that out either.
Has he spoken to Ghislaine Maxwell since she was moved? Have they FaceTime together or, have they had a Zoom call?
Yeah. I mean, the problem is that the media is not asking him the right questions, and he's not going to give a real answer, even if they did. And so it's something like, I just wish I could get a press pass for one day, because just getting the questions out into the ether would be enough to embarrass him. And if he tried that shit with me, like he did with the lady on Air Force One, I'd have a thing or two to say in my defense. But it's making sure, like, again, all of the everything that's a smoke screen to cover up for what he did. Like if he was a fully innocent human being, we would have seen a full release of these files already. That's the bottom line. That is the fact. If there was something in there worse about Bill Clinton than about him, we would have seen that already. We would have seen that a long time ago. Epstein's alleged suicide happened in 2019. So if Trump wanted to release a whole bunch of shit on Bill Clinton to look like a good guy in 2020, he would have, but he didn't. And my friend Ellie Leonard, who everybody should be following on Substack, she is a professional transcriber, and she went through that whole Epstein birthday book. And I really recommend everybody read. I mean, the woman needs a retinal transplant at this point. God bless her. But she went through the whole birthday book. And there's disgusting stuff in there, right? Disgusting things.
Yeah.
Vile, vulgar. The way women are depicted and described is vile. Bill Clinton's letter to Jeffrey Epstein is the least egregious of all of the entries from his friends, from his family. And I don't know why some of these things were even included in a birthday book, but his was like, hey, happy 50th. And you've retained, your friendship and a childlike sense of wonder of the world, whatever it was. Didn't draw boobs, didn't mention women or girls.
Didn't sign his name to look like pubic hair. It was like, I found that very surprising that both he and Woody Allen, I would have expected something almost from Woody, like Body, considering the man wrote, everything you want to know about sex.
But they did have dinner together.
Well,
Jeffrey and Woody were pals.
Right, but with his wife present. There's a whole thing in the letter about how the first time they had dinner, his wife was embarrassed that you can't have, like, nice people over with this, like, buffet bullshit. And she apparently helped him make she did. Like, Sunyi helped him make the dinners better. And that's a big chunk of the letter. It's super fucking weird.
Yeah.
Of all things.
Everything in that birthday book is weird, though, because when you think of the mentality behind someone who would bind all of that together, and a lot of it was really disgusting, but the most disgusting one being the colored pencil drawing of the three women servicing Epstein at once, and they're all topless in a bikini, in like only bikini bottoms, and they're very young looking, and one's rubbing his shoulders and one's blowing him, and another one is just kind of massaging him. And somebody and Ghislaine Maxwell thought, this is a perfect picture to put in Jeffrey's birthday book. He's going to want to remember this forever. These are the sick fucking rapist pedophiles that we are dealing with here. And these are people who Donald Trump happily socialized with repeatedly for a very long time. And then the other thing that people forget about there's a million things that they forget about, right? Epstein is the one who found Melania. Epstein is the one who introduced Melania to Trump. Epstein got that first. He got there first. And Trump never got over it, right? Because it's one thing for them to share nameless, and to abuse and rape nameless 12-year-olds who they thought were trash. This was going to be his wife, and he knows forever. Epstein got there first, and there's that famous picture of the four of them where it's Donald and Melania and Jeffrey and Ghislaine, and Melania's body language towards Jeffrey is like, hi. That body language speaks volumes. She is pulling her body away from her husband, going towards.
Yeah.
That should tell you a lot. Because as disgusting as Melania is, and I don't give her any, she's not a victim. She's a willing participant in all of this. That body language to me transmitted more than many other things, because sometimes women will let you know when they don't like you. They have ways of letting you know. And so that's that was one thing. But everything that's included in the birthday book is a roadmap. It's a roadmap that tells you everything you need to know. But the bottom line that we keep needing to push, because again, I've had it confirmed by a sitting member of Congress, a Democratic representative, the only reason the government is shut down right now is because Trump is in the Epstein files.
That's right.
And we have to keep going back to that. Our government is shut down because Donald Trump raped little girls. And there are Russian wire transfers between Russian banks and American banks that prove that it was financed, that the whole there's an international sex trafficking ring financed by Russians, laundered through American banks, which is why my Senator Ron Wyden is investigating Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase, and the Treasury Department has its own set of Epstein files, which most Americans don't even know about, and Scott Bessent won't let Ron Wyden have full access to those Epstein files that are in Treasury that prove connections between Russian banks and American banks financing Jeffrey Epstein. And we know it touches Trump. And that's why the government is shut down. And I'm using my mommy says it's time to leave the store voice because I'm very angry about this.
Right.
And this should be the biggest part of why the government is shut down. Instead of letting Republicans dominate the conversation and making it a healthcare issue, it's this. And that is what I want everyone to be doing besides fighting for SNAP benefits, which is also part of this.
Right. This is, by the way, this is a picture that twice convicted pedophile Scott Ritter, and this guy's, Wilson's his last name. I don't remember his first name or whatever. He blogs for the Kremlin, basically. He's a like former CIA guy who basically rolled and now lives in Moscow. And Steven Seagal.
We'll just call him Yuri. Steven Seagal's a fucking traitor. Yeah, he's a Russian citizen now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, and again, like basically like these are like pedophiles before they go out pedoing, because that's like
they're pre-funking. It's a pre-funk for the pedophiles.
That's right.
It's great. Steven
and
Seagal
he
also. I didn't know that. I didn't know Steven went.
I don't know that he goes for underage women, but he does like to abuse.
Girls.
So, which is a shame. Like that's gross. Even beyond, but it's Hayes in Russia, so it's legal.
Yay!
But the point is like that Russian industry of sex trafficking, especially minors, is not like lost on Trump or a casualty of diplomacy. It's a feature, not a bug for him.
Correct.
So
and there are more. There lately they've been really rounding up a lot of Republican pedophiles, like churchy pedophiles, people who are pillars of the community. And all of a sudden they find tons of child porn on their computers, and Republicans are left scrambling because we're like, it keeps being you guys with this pedophile stuff. And the Democrats' official Twitter account tweeted like a new logo for the GOP, and like the pedo protectors, and like they're just saying it. And like, I don't know if you saw Ruben Gallego, he was like, Republicans are protecting a pedophile. They're protecting pedophiles.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Yes, that's
what
how they need to talk about it.
That's the energy.
That's
right.
right.
Is the energy. Do that. Lots of that. All of that. Only that is the energy. Drive that home. Your SNAP benefits are in jeopardy because Republicans are protecting a pedophile. That's pretty strong language.
Now, I got to tell you, okay, so how do we get here? And also, again, it'd be one thing if they were doing it and it wasn't like the cause célèbre of the entire maggot movement. But it was. I mean, again, the 8 to 12% like QAnon crowd, conspiracy theory overlapping crowd that took it upon themselves to dive into this in 2015 and 2016, by the way, and paint this picture of Hillary Clinton as this woman who eats baby juice and blah blah blah, but Donald Trump, friends with Jeffrey Epstein, wingman for 25 years, friends with Roy Cohn till the day he died. Somehow he gets a fucking pass, but he gets in there, and Jeffrey Epstein is arrested. The evidence in his New York apartment disappears. He dies in prison or is, replaced by a body double and rolled out there or whatever. And so it is impossible to detach MAGA from this information, because it is part of their identity. And one of the big key players in that has been Marjorie Trainwreck Green. And MTG has been on a tear lately. And it is one of the most bizarre fucking turns, and we're in the middle of like, it's really hard to absorb it without going, well, yeah, fucking duh. Like, this is, what the fuck have we been saying this whole time? Like, it's when they go like, I don't think he actually wants to release the Epstein file. You're like, I don't know if these tariffs, I don't know if he's thought this tariff shit through. Like, yeah,
well, it's funny that you're bringing this back. Well, first of all, she knows she's not getting her pardon at all, ever. She's never getting her pardon from him. She stood with the Epstein survivors. She's not getting a pardon from him. So she might as well talk out both sides of her mouth. The reason she's doing this is it's going to hurt her own children. She was talking about her kids.
Mm-hmm.
Her 3 kids went to her and said, Mom, if this happens, this will hurt us, me, your child, in these specific ways. And she was like, oh my goodness, I didn't understand that President Trump is a bad guy. And she's still not going to go all in, right? She's still going to protect herself any way that she can. So what she'll do is she'll speak in general. Like, she won't say Trump. She'll say
the Republicans.
Republicans are going to lose, not Trump will lose.
Right. Well, he can't run again, and she knows it. And the idea that he's going to be alive to run again, none of them actually believe that either.
He's not going to be alive in 28 or 32. Nice try, though.
No. Yeah. It just and it's gonna be like the lowest turnout presidential funeral in history. I'm calling it right now. But yeah, and it is the wussy way out when they keep saying when it's Biden's doing blah blah blah. When it's Obama's doing blah blah blah. When it's Trump, it's like Republicans need to stop. Right. Okay. But she goes, I can't see into the future, but I see Republicans losing the House if Americans are continuing to go paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
She said they'll definitely be going into the midterms looking through the lens of their bank account.
That is true.
Right.
I mean,
self-evidently true.
Is still right twice a day.
Right.
So
she is stuck in that broken clock.
Go back up.
Oh,
something was about how she fervently lobbied. It was right under that photo. Look at her. She's hugging.
Oh, yeah.
She's hugging.
It's fervently lobbied for greater transparency in the White House's handling of recent developments in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking case with a Republican colleague in the House, Thomas Massie, and their counterpart across the aisle, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna, who has helped them helm a growing push to have the Justice Department release new documents on the latest pedophiles' crimes. She goes, Green has been careful to avoid criticizing Trump directly. Any president, whether it's Democrat or Republican president, they're in a cone of information, and the information is siloed, and it's coming from their advisors, right? As she put it to Semaphore.
Okay. Thank you for telling us how you also operate, but keep going.
But no, it's not siloed. They have as much information as they can handle. Now, there's an element of, does she think that there are people around him keeping the fact that he's in the Epstein files from him? We know now that he asked Pam Bondi in May, and she said yes. And they said about a bunch of people, like, go in there and redact everywhere I'm in. That's when the 1,000 agents popped in and started, like, went in there with a fucking Sharpies and tried to change the direction of the hurricane that's coming using a Sharpie for the second time in history.
That's actually worse than releasing them unredacted. Because if you're going through them and you're blacking them out, I mean, people are going to be like, well, what's behind there? And it's probably not about Bill Clinton, because you wouldn't redact anything about Bill Clinton, would you?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was another point that I've constantly made about these Epstein files, in that, aside from we always hold our own accountable, it's just like, you promised to be transparent about this, and you put out binders that were nothing but blacked out pages. Why would Pam Bondi protect Bill Clinton? That wouldn't serve her. That wouldn't serve Trump to protect. They have no interest in protecting Democrats. I think they've made that super abundantly clear. So if MAGA had any natural curiosity, they would be asking that kind of question.
Yeah, I think the biggest question is, like, why is Trump hiding all the Bill Clinton stuff? Like, if that's the thing, they're just invert what they've been saying. Like, if Democrats had this stuff, they'd have released it about Trump. And like, not necessarily, because it was all frozen until January of last year, and then the campaign was going on. And the idea was, and he benefited from this in 2016 as well, which is like, where, Hillary Clinton's like, we're going to win, so we don't need to release this garbage. People are going to see through this, and they took too much. They took for granted the sanity of the American voter and the genocide Joe lefties who just want to, accelerationists who want to burn everything down. Everyone keeps saying I've changed, and I'm saying no, I haven't changed. I'm staying focused on America first, and I'm urging my party to get back to America first.
When they never were. That's fine. But that's also
I don't know.
Nazi shit, so
she said, I don't know if the Republican Party is leaving me or if I'm kind of not relating to the Republican Party as much anymore. Well,
because she's not. That's not she doesn't represent the Republican Party. She represents what was the Tea Party that has become MAGA.
Right.
So that's what she represents. What she's doing is basically
she's calling Trump a rhino in the most cowardly way possible.
and not even directly, right? And she's
Right.
also she's a millionaire. She never paid back her PPP loan that she got from the Biden administration.
Yeah.
She's had multiple affairs. She doesn't really care about saving children. She cares about covering her own ass, like most Republicans, and we understand that. In this particular situation, that will help her look like a hero because it's only impacting her own children, so that maybe made her go, well, if it's going to hurt my children, it's going to hurt other people's children, and she's an advocate for children. Like, whatever. Her own PR covering her own ass, while she also tries to, because she still has to think about her own political future and what she's going to do next.
If one exists at all, right?
At least something inside of her somewhere understands that there is a post-Trump Republican Party that is going to have to figure their shit out.
Yes, that was what Steve Bannon was talking about like 2 weeks ago when he said this is, they're viewing him as a storm that will pass. And that's true. I'm going to end. We got 2 minutes left.
Let's go.
I want to end on this a little bit. This is an Australian reporter in talking about like how Trump turned on that reporter in on Air Force One and stuff.
Right.
She's asking him about Ukraine.
Okay.
See if this plays correctly. Play, you silly thing. Oh, come on. Dum, 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 dum. Don't make me reload you. I'll reload it. There you go.
Okay.
See if it plays. I don't know. But
while we're waiting,
she says, you are the most powerful man on earth. Why don't you just enable Ukraine to finish this war tomorrow? And he says, well, if you know anything about what you were talking about, and she goes, I do. And he says, I don't think you do really. Because he
can't answer the question.
Right. Because he does
right?
he doesn't dare is really what it is. Okay, so hold on.
Why don't you release the Epstein files if you're an innocent man? Why doesn't anyone ask him that question?
Right. Well, that's the issue with him, isn't it?
You can't ask. It doesn't matter what question you ask him. He doesn't like it. And I don't know why he takes questions.
Right.
Because it doesn't make him look good.
Because she's extractive. He goes, it sounds easy. We're in the process of making a deal. If we make a deal, that's great. If we don't make a deal, it will be a lot of people that are going to be paying a big price. And he spoke to Putin, and
Which
that's
we'll
why.
never know about that conversation with Putin. We'll never know what they talked about. Like we never got the note from the translator.
Yeah.
It just, all of it is,
he's trying to
believe anything.
He thinks his midway of making the deal is, and you can see the look on Trump's face, is halfway between like I'm
the little baby fist.
And nap time. Like this is like he's on a hard fade. He's been on one for a while, but it's just accelerating.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I was listening to you when I was getting ready, and you were talking about Joe Biden and the way the media.
Daddy's here. I love Dad. I love it when Daddy's here, and he's going to take care of me.
I mean, again, I'm not someone who always leans into false equivalence or whatever. But if Joe Biden ever put out an AI video of him dumping shit on MAGA,
right,
like we would never hear the end of it. We would never hear the end of it.
Oh yeah,
ever. And
they still haven't gotten over part of them being called the basket of deplorables. They're still wincing from
and so this and their reaction to No Kings is a very similar reaction to the basket of deplorables, where it was we're gonna try to like embrace this and try to make it ours, and so we're gonna release memes of Trump dressed like a king because now we want a king because you're saying no kings when we want a king. It's like you're so bad at this. Like when we did the Dark Brandon, that was a smart appropriation of what you did. We took the dumb shit that you did, and then we made it smart, and we ruined it for you, so you can't do it anymore. They're so bad at it that they can't do it. They're still not going to take no kings from us. They're not going to be able to change that. They're not going to alter the meaning of it. It just goes to show you, like they don't do anything right. And so, as we're wrapping, I'm going to ask everybody in the chat, please do something this week to help your fellow citizens hold on to their SNAP benefits. We don't want anyone to starve to death. We're supposed to be taking care of each other in this country, and the Republicans are all supposed to be providing for the promoting the general welfare, and they're not doing that.
Mhm.
So, and I'm also changing a little bit my approach. I'm just kind of even as angry as we can be. It's just he tried to kill another vice president and failed.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't be his vice president. Also, JD Vance wanted the Epstein client list released, and he told Theo Vaughn on Theo's podcast, and now I have the clip. It's just a mere 7 seconds, and Theo goes, "Release the list," and then Vance starts, and Vladimir Futon. We have to make that stick to him.
Yeah.
Vladimir Futon, JD Vance is laughing. He's like, "Yeah, no, man, we got to get that list released." Okay, release it. Charlie Kirk wanted the Epstein files released. Why aren't you releasing them for Charlie Kirk? Pointing out the hypocrisy, but doing it with a smile.
Yeah.
That's my new
Crucial.
approach.
Yep. All right.
That's
well,
my
thanks
new
so much
approach.
for coming on. We'll see you later.
Everybody buy my book, The Sound of Settling, at TaraDublinRocks.com, and follow me across all the socials at Tara Dublin Rocks, Tara Dublin Rocks on Instagram. And please, please, please sign up for my YouTube, because I can't do monetization of YouTube until I have 3,000 subscribers, and
That's
I'm
right.
only like halfway there. So, and The Sound of Settling at TaraDublinRocks.com, and I will see you guys next Monday.
Excellent.
Be good to each other.